Hello everyone and welcome back. So today I want to talk to you guys about the books that I want to read this summer. Some of these are book club reads, some of these are books I'm in the middle of, the ones that I want to finish, and then some that I have yet to start that I feel like would be good fits for the summer. Some of these books were in my spring TBR, which I'm carrying into summer, and some of these books are also from my year-round books that I must read in 2024 list and video, so I will make sure to leave those videos in the cards and in the description so that you guys can check those out if you missed them. The first one that I have to finish is the last book in the Lord of the Rings. This is The Return of the King, and by J.R.R. Tolkien, of course. We are reading the whole series. We have been reading the whole series for the Game of Tomes book club, which I co-host with my best friend Emma from her YouTube channel Emmy, and I have been loving this series more than I can say, more than I can express. Emma also gifted me these beautiful illustrated editions. If you guys saw in 2 videos ago, I told you guys that I got married, which is so exciting. And this was actually a gift from Emma. It was a wedding gift, and it could not be more perfect. They are so beautiful, these books and the illustrations. So I can't wait to finish the series reading this specific edition because the illustrations are stunning. You guys were asking to see some of the illustrations, so I will show some of them to you. Although I don't think they're going to be spoilers. I'll make sure they're not spoilers. Also, oh my god, they smell amazing. Oh, look at this. So these illustrations are by an illustrator named Alan Lee, and he is an incredible artist. I believe all of these illustrations are in watercolor. That's just my guess. From what I can tell with the texture and the application of the paint, you can kind of tell it sort of has the texture of watercolor if you're familiar with watercolor as well. But these illustrations are truly breathtaking, and they fit the magic of Tolkien's writing so well. His writing is just unlike anything I've ever experienced. It is lyrical, it is beautiful, it is timeless and enchanting, and I have been loving every single page of this series. Oh, this is the cover, so you can see, and then it's also on the cover. This is what the back looks like. Oh my gosh. Can you believe a book can be this beautiful? That is what I love about illustration, is it just can enhance your reading experience, and it can make a story come to life in a way that words can't. That obviously you can have images in your mind, but it's something else entirely when you can actually see those images in your mind come to life. I love seeing different artists' interpretations of fictional worlds and writing, and yeah, so I am so excited and kind of heartbroken to finish the series, but I can't wait to talk to you guys about it and discuss it with Emma. So we have been reading The Lord of the Rings in May and June, and then for July and August we will be reading Murakami's 1Q84, which is a beast of a book. I've only read one Murakami book, which is right over here. It's Norwegian Wood, and I really loved it, so I'm excited to read more from Murakami. I have heard great things about 1Q84, so I'm excited to see what Murakami has in store for us. I really don't know what this book is about, and I kind of want to be surprised. I hope you don't mind me not giving you much of a synopsis. It says, a work of maddening brilliance, and that is a quote from the Times, and it is a trilogy. So I feel like with Lord of the Rings, which is also a trilogy, if I section the sections properly, it'll make my reading experience a bit easier. Obviously this is in one volume. I know there are different editions that have separate volumes like the Lord of the Rings books, which are usually in different volumes. So excited to also read this with you guys. Let me know in a comment if you're joining in. If you're reading The Lord of the Rings with us, please comment and let me know what you've been thinking. We do have a book club on the app Fable for the Game of Tomes, which I have been loving reading all of your comments, and it's basically where we can discuss all of the books that we read for the book club and share pictures, and it's just such a fun way to communicate and to interact with everyone joining in the book club. So if you haven't joined on Fable, then definitely do so because it's just so much fun. Then the next book I am in the middle of reading and I have been loving it so much. That is Enid Blyton's Nature Stories. This is a short story collection written by Enid Blyton. This is actually my first Enid Blyton book, which is so exciting. I can't wait to read more from her because I love her writing style in this so much. So this is a collection of 30 stories just about different animals, and I just read one about fairies. It's such an adorable short story collection, perfect for the spring and summertime. I've been reading about one chapter every day and they make me really happy and they brighten my day, and I love reading about nature during this time of year because I feel at one with nature when I'm outside. I've been reading this outside, and so I love reading in my back garden with the birds chirping, and you just feel like you're reading about the creatures that are around you. At least that's how I've been feeling. So yes, love this so much. Highly recommend it if it sounds like something that you would enjoy. Something about short story collections I do want to say is oftentimes when I read short story collections, there are some stories that I just don't enjoy as much, I just don't resonate with. I have been loving every single story that I have read from this collection. Before I show you the next book, it's funny. I think it's funny. I think you guys will think it's funny as well. So I uploaded a video about the oldest books on my TBR, and I had you guys vote for the 5 that I highlighted in that video. I showed you 5 books that have been on my shelves for a very long time that I would really like to read, and I had you guys vote on the 5 which one I should read. And I just went through all of the votes just now with Leon, my husband. I thought it was so funny because one book that you guys voted for, I didn't even include in the video, but you guys voted for it anyway because I have been talking about wanting to read it forever and ever and ever, and I am going to do it. So 3 people voted for this book, although it wasn't included in the 5 from that video, but I'm going to read it anyway, so have no fear, it will be read, I promise. And that is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I've been talking about wanting to read this book. I have lost track of how long. I have a feeling that it's going to be very different from 1Q84, so I'm thinking I can read both at the same time because they'll both be very different. I'm not sure. If you have read both of those, do you think that's a good idea? Let me know. I've just been trying to figure out when it would be a good time to read East of Eden because it is a big book, and I've been reading a lot of big books for the book club. I also really would like to read this in the summertime as well, so I don't know if I want to wait. Do you hear the landscapers? They're back again. If you didn't see my last video where I talked about the mini bookmarks that I'm going to be having on sale, which will be currently on sale in my Etsy shop when I upload this video, I showed you guys the bookmarks that I designed, and in that video the very loud landscapers showed up, and they're back. So anyway, but they're further away than they were last time. Anyway, East of Eden is an epic family drama, I believe, set in Northern California. I really love John Steinbeck's writing style. It reminds me a lot of Ernest Hemingway, and if you guys don't know, I am the biggest fan of Ernest Hemingway. And John Steinbeck and Ernest Hemingway give me similar feelings when I read their books. So the first sentence, I will just read you the first sentence to give you a taste of the writing and how the story opens. So it says, "The Salinas Valley is in Northern California. It is a long, narrow swell between 2 ranges of mountains, and the Salinas River winds and twists up the center until it falls at last into Monterey Bay." And then it says, "I remember my childhood names for grasses and secret flowers. I remember where a toad may live and what time the birds awaken in the summer, and what trees and seasons smelled like, how people looked and walked and smelled even. The memory of odors is very rich." Those are the first 2 paragraphs of the book, and I can't wait to keep reading it. I have a feeling this is going to become an all-time favorite, so extremely excited about this one. I feel like they're getting louder. I am so sorry. This is just going to keep happening, and I can't do anything about it. The other landscapers were here earlier today, but they left, and now we have new ones. We have different ones. The next book is the one that you guys voted for from my oldest books on my TBR video. Leon tallied them up for me. I read out all the votes and he took tallies. It was very fun. We had fun seeing which one would win first place. So it was between Flowers for Algernon, A Gentleman in Moscow, The Kite Runner, North and South, Madame Bovary, and 3 votes for East of Eden. The votes came out to, in 5th place is North and South with 44 votes. Then in 4th place, A Gentleman in Moscow with 46 votes. Then in 3rd place, it's Madame Bovary with 49 votes. Then in 2nd place with 62 votes, and 1st place had 66 votes. The 2nd place was The Kite Runner, and 1st place was Flowers for Algernon. So I will be reading Flowers for Algernon at some point this summer. I am so excited. I have been wanting to read this book. I've had it on my shelves forever, and you guys left rave reviews talking about how it's one of your favorite books of all time, how you'll never forget it, and you made me want to read it even more. It's also nice and short. It's not too long, which is good because I have been reading very long books. If you have been here for a while, you know that I love a book that can make you feel very deeply and make you cry, and it's so cathartic, I feel like, when a story can make you cry. Okay, so the back says, Charlie Gordon, a floor sweeper born with an unusually low IQ, has been chosen as the perfect subject for an experimental surgery that doctors hope will increase his intelligence. A procedure that has been highly successful when tested on a lab mouse named Algernon. All Charlie wants is to be smart and have friends, but the treatment turns him into a genius. Then Algernon begins to fade. What will become of Charlie? Oh, it sounds incredible. One of my very good friends, Alberto, he is actually a neuroscientist. He works a lot with mice, and I know that this is one of his favorite books, as well as his wife, who is one of my very best friends, Michelle. I believe she also read this. I'll actually have to ask to double check, but I can't wait to read this and talk about it with Alberto and Michelle, and with you guys, because oh my gosh, all you have been saying is wonderful things. So I'm very, very, very excited about this one. As I've said a million times about all of these books, I always do that. I apologize if that's very annoying. I feel like all I say is how excited I am to read these books, but I am. It's true. I am excited. I really love this cover as well. It's such a nice design. Thank you guys so much for voting on that video. That was so fun, and I would really love to do that again, or maybe make my way through this list. Like next I can read The Kite Runner. I think that would be fun as well. The next book I want to read I included in my spring TBR, and I was trying to figure out which Kazuo Ishiguro book I wanted to read next, because I love Ishiguro and I want to read one of his books every year. I would like to read this summer A Pale View of Hills, and this is his debut novel actually. It was first published in 1982, and it tells the story of Etsuko, a Japanese woman now living alone in England, dwelling on the recent suicide of her daughter. Retreating into the past, she finds herself reliving one particular hot summer in Nagasaki when she and her friends struggle to rebuild their lives after the war. But as she recalls her strange friendship with Sachiko, a wealthy woman reduced to vagrancy, the memories start to take on a disturbing cast. It sounds like a really interesting story. Also, the fact that it says she finds herself reliving one particular hot summer. Right now, it is extremely warm. I have all of my windows closed because it's noisy outside, and I am very warm right now, so this feels quite fitting. I find that Ishiguro's books are very, very different from one to another, so I'm excited to see what he has in store for me and whoever reads this story. The next one I also think I featured either in my summer TBR or my 2024 TBR, and that is The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea by Yoko Mishima. It's in the beautiful Vintage Japan series. These are just stunning. Leon has also read this story, and I believe Emma has read this book, and they both really I wouldn't say enjoyed it. I think it seems like a very heavy story. It says, a band of savage 13-year-old boys reject the adult world as illusory, hypocritical, and sentimental, and train themselves in the brutal callousness they call objectivity. When the mother of one of them begins an affair with a ship's officer, the boys and his friends idealize the man at first, but it is not long before they conclude that he is in fact soft and romantic. They regard this disillusionment as an act of betrayal, and the retribution is deliberate and horrifying. It is also translated by John Nathan. It sounds like a really fascinating story. These boys kind of feel like the boys in Lord of the Flies, kind of rejecting society and just acting very wild, and I'm really interested to see how the story unfolds. Then the last book that I would like to continue reading, Leon and I already started it. I showed you this book in the video where I told you that we got married, and this was my wedding gift to Leon, and this is a little book of wedding readings and poems, and it is edited by Becky Brown. It is by Pan Macmillan. They make the most beautiful books, oh my gosh, and this one is from one of their poetry collections. So this not only has poems, but it also has readings and excerpts from novels, and Leon and I have been reading a few of the poems, and I want to continue to read them with him. So this is going to be another book that we will be reading on and off throughout the rest of spring. Well, spring is almost over, basically into summer. So these are all the books that I want to read this summer. I would love to know if you've read any of them and what you think of them. I would also love to know what books you are planning on reading this summer, so definitely let me know. I am always looking for recommendations and suggestions. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon in another one. Thank you so much for being here, and as always, happy reading.